Hello, dear ones. It may look like we're all trying to avoid the divine. And of course, it's not possible, but the way we live, it looks to me, and that includes myself, that we are trying to avoid the divine, to avoid the natural flow of the divine that knows how to fulfill our needs even before we know them. And that is never separate from us. And the way we do that is by keep trying to do it on our own. And we try and we effort and we get frustrated and it's not working. And then we try harder. I'm sure a lot of you can relate to this, and I certainly can until I got so fed up with it years ago. And then I had to start undoing this efforting thing. Pernilla, she can do it. But it wasn't really like that. It used to be like that in the past, actually, where I wanted, Pernilla to be successful or whatever. But eventually it just turned into just like there's just this longing to make a difference in the world. And that's very common for most light workers. And we want to do whatever we can to fulfill that longing, to bring that forth. And that's when we go out and we try things. And unfortunately, for most light workers that I know, not all, but most, and I don't know all light workers, of course, but it's kind of a general thing that there's just this trying harder and well, it didn't work out, so I have to put more effort into it. And the reason it's not working is because there's probably some stuff in myself that I haven't seen yet. So there's this drive. And even though it comes from a beautiful place of wanting to make a difference, I'm afraid that has to go also. And I had a little bit of a struggle with that myself, probably a few years ago when I stopped this process, because I could just see it was just complete insanity. And the way I was going about doing it was about as opposite of what the message was that I wanted to share. So when I finally put two and two together, I really stopped. And then I just had to say, okay, now you have to show me, because I have no clue. I separate Pernilla has tried everything and it's not working and I'm done. And I have shared that before. When I come to a place where I'm done, I'm done. And I just I don't even want to put my effort into it anymore, because I tried it all, did my best. My intentions were pure. And so as I was going through that process, I wasn't, you know, I was trying to avoid the divine, not consciously, but unconsciously. There was just this separate sense of self called Pernilla, who was still trying to make things happen, to make the world a better place, whatever it was. And it didn't work. It seems to work for some people, and good on them. That's great. It didn't work for me, and it doesn't work for most people I know. So for me, it was just stopping and just beginning the process of full surrender. That meant all the parts of me, whether there were good intentions or not. And they were. And you know about yourself that your intentions are also pure, they're well meant. And why do I need to give up this? Well, it's because that is still working in the matrix, trying to make something happen in the matrix from a matrix character. And it might be a better character. It might be more loving, um, more aligned with good, whatever it is. And I think we need a lot of that anyway, just to counterbalance all the other negativity and darkness that we're in. So I'm not making anything wrong. I usually don't think there's anything wrong with what we're doing. I think we're all going through a natural unfolding and process where we simply go through these layers. And but then at a certain point, when we're done with these layers, then we can let them go. And you will notice that when you're done with it, that nothing is working anymore. And you can watch a video I did a while ago. I think it's called Why Nothing is Working Anymore. And of course, that is because the matrix is coming apart. And the effort we have been putting into it is all to make the matrix better, or, still living by the matrix rules. All that has to go. I'm sorry to say it, because I know when our intentions are really pure, then it makes no sense. I totally get it. But I just had to sit down on my butt, and I sat there probably for a number of years, after I just said enough. And it was challenging because I didn't know what to do. I just didn't know what to do, what else to do. I tried it all, it didn't work. Um, I tried this, that didn't work. Oh, let me try that. That didn't work. Then I did some really deep work on myself. That didn't work. So basically, nothing worked. Very, very challenging. So if you are somebody who's going through that, my heart is with you. Hang in there. But what I didn't know back then was that I was literally going through a big purification. And it that only dawned on me when I was way into this challenging time, where there was still a resistance to letting go. There was more feeling the heaviness and, the defeat and all that stuff, because that was here and I could not avoid that. I couldn't bypass it. So it was almost like I was forced to just sit and be with that and feel every single part, not trying to change it or improve it, but just melt through these beliefs. And so that heaviness that we all have been carrying, that needed some time and space to melt and dissolve and be let go of. So that was a lot of it. And then when more and more of that heaviness, the beliefs that I was not good enough, that I did it wrong, nobody wants me, yada, 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 that needed to melt away, to simply dissolve. And as that burden was lightening in me, then I could start seeing more clearly that this is a purification I was going through. I couldn't see it at the beginning when I first sat down. I just felt miserable, but I knew I was done with that kind of efforting. So then I was just sitting through that phase for a long time. And then until suddenly, like, oh, it became clear, I'm being purified. And then it became easier to move through it, because then I knew there was actually a reason for all of this. And it was a good thing. And it's a good thing to let it all go. And then it just became easier. So if this is helpful for you to just, if you are in that heavy thickness, if you can see it as a purification of letting go of that separate sense of self. A good hearted self or an evil hearted self, it is still a separate sense of self. And that can be hard to understand, that good humanhood, it is still a separate sense of self. Absolutely much more enjoyable than the opposite. But we have to start understanding that it is not who we truly are. It's like another, character that we are identified with. But it is still a character of the Matrix on the stage. So when you move through all that, and hopefully just by, maybe hearing me share this today, hopefully your heaviness here, if you're in that, might lighten it a little bit. So like, okay, there's a purpose. Okay, I see, I need to let this go. And then eventually you come to a place where it's just lighter. And this is very uninteresting to you. And again, I'm speaking from my own experience. And then it almost becomes like there is a joy in letting all that stuff go. It's like, oh my God, yeah, I do not want to be separate from the divine. I don't want to try and go out there and do something good in the world if I'm not fully aligned and if I'm not fully led by within, from within. So then it really got easier. And then it was like, okay, well, maybe I will not share my message. Maybe that's just how it is. I have no clue what else to do. But at that point, I just felt I was so surrendered that I couldn't do anymore. It's literally, I was like, okay, I can't I can't surrender more than I am. If I need to surrender deeper, please do it. I don't know how. So can you see, even the doer who's trying to surrender, it just got easier and easier. It doesn't mean I'm fully free at all. There's still parts that need to be surrendered or let go of. But I know most of them, and I can just let them, do their thing it just takes time for some of them to just fully surrender. I'm not trying to force it. I'm not trying to avoid it or bypass it. It's just like, okay, well, here I am. And I think telling myself, really feeling the truth of like, I'm doing my best and I can't do any more than my best. I am 100% willing to surrender to the divine and be a full open instrument of the divine to bring forth whatever it needs to bring forth in whatever way it wants to do that. Then there's like, oh, okay, this is all I can do. I can only be 100% willing, make myself 100% available. And there is a part that could relax in that. Seriously. And then when all this old stuff is not, shouting in my ears, um, I can just do my life. I can just do what feels right, follow my inner. Sometimes things don't work out, even though it feels like I'm following my inner. But again, I'm not making a story out of that. I'm just letting it be what it is, and I just keep following. I would even say now that I say that, by just letting it all the pieces fall wherever they need to fall, and just following this, there's not much of an attachment to the outcome. When I said that, I could feel a little twinge in my solar plexus, so there is still a little bit left. But that's how I experience it. It's like, oh, there is still something here. Not bypassing it, but just like, oh, okay, yeah. All right, I can be with that. I can let that be held too and unfold in its own time. So it's just a deeper and deeper letting go and surrendering. And as we go down that road, it just gets easier simply because the load is lighter. And then, of course, you start realizing that you don't really want to avoid God or the divine, whatever you call it, because that's the whole point, right? Even of things you wanted to share with the world, then you become it more. And, I'm never trying to pretend that I am there, that I am somewhere. I'm just here with what is and being as open and transparent about it as I can, doing my best, sharing what I've seen, what I've learned. And, if it can support or help somebody, that's great. But I'm not attached to that either. There is just a natural flow that wants to share itself. And that's pretty much all I know right now. And that's enough. So I hope that helps if you feel stuck in trying to make things happen and frustrated that they're not. Um, yeah, give yourself a break and remember that. there's a good chance that you're simply being purified from all of that. So go with the flow, don't fight it, and see what happens.